I am so hoping that with this video, I will not cry, but I feel like there's a chance. And I'm like, I didn't do my picture for my thumbnail first. So I'm hoping that I don't. Hello friends, happy Friday. So very excited that you're here. I am doing a video review and I'm very excited. I have been eagerly looking forward to filming, talking about it. Just this week I reread volumes 1 and 2 because this is a 3-volume series, and volume 3 recently arrived, and I was like, I knew that for months now that I was going to do a review of this, and that is Kimi ni Todoke, From Me to You, Soulmate. This series is amazing. It is amazing. I was very skeptical at first if I would love a story centered around the Kurumi. Yes, Kurumi from the main series of Kimi ni Todoke, which I have done a review of, like the main series. Deeply love it. And so as soon as I saw the license announcement for this, I knew I would want to read this. I was skeptical though. I'm like, can I really get engaged with Kurumi? But we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. In case if you're not familiar with this series is about, it is, like I said, it is about Kurumi here. She is the main character in this series. Yes, Sawako, our very sweet and precious Sawako, is actually the side character. Her and Sawako, Kurumi, they're both off at university, and Kurumi has a friendship with Sawako, and they've increasingly gotten closer, and Kurumi feels like she just does not treat Sawako well, but loves her very deeply, and feels like that she is codependent on Sawako at this point. One day, something happens. I think a friend comes up to them and is like, hey, will you come with me to this mixer? And, you know, Sawako is not gonna go because she, she got Kazegaya. She's already in a relationship. But Kurumi's like, I won't go unless Sawako goes. And so Sawako's like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna go, because Kurumi sort of guilt trips her, saying, I wish I could find a romance like you. I wish I could be happy like you. Sort of these things like that. And so Sawako's like, okay, I'll go. She tells Kazehaya, don't worry, he knows about it. She ends up coming to this mixer, and Sawako is getting hit on by this really creepy dude. And who should step in? This guy here. I feel like I've been saying his name wrong in my head the whole time. I've been calling him Iji. I'm pretty confident it's not how you say his name, so we'll probably just refer to him as the male lead so I don't butcher his name the entire video. But he steps in, and come to find out, he is Sawako's cousin, and he is also in university, not the same one. Well, he expresses a romantic interest in Kurumi, and that is sort of how this story begins. It is definitely a love story, but I found this story to be, I read it at just the perfect time. I mean, I loved volume 1 and 2 very much. Like I said, I reread them this week, and they were both just as amazing as the first time I read it. But I will be honest, friends, I have not been okay for the past 2 weeks or so. There have been some really in real life stresses, let's say big in real life stresses, but yes, that have really taken a huge toll hit on my mental health. I have been more transparent about it with Patreon and channel members, how I've mentioned that my manga life and my real life collided, not in the best of ways, and left me a hot, depressed mess. It might be like, well, Laura, if you're mentally struggling, why are you still filming these videos? Well, these videos are my happy place, and not to have this happy place makes it 10 times worse. I haven't posted as much on social media, and I've been told that I've been distant, and I probably have been, though not necessarily intentionally. And so the reason I bring all this up is because like I said, I've just not been in a good mental health headscape at all, and I even admitted to myself for the first time in a really long time when I've struggled that I'm like, Laura, you probably should see a therapist for your feelings, because I just feel like I'm always anxious, I'm always stressed, I'm always worried, and it's just due to a certain situation that it feels very uncontrollable and makes me spiral with small things, and they've just sort of gotten bigger. And that's why it was really hard when I did my reading wrap-up video and I mentioned I'm not going to talk about the series I dropped because I just was not in that place that I could handle any negativity or criticism about why I dropped certain things, because I just felt like a personal hot mess, and I've continued to feel like a personal hot mess. Today has been a lot better, thankfully. If you saw my earlier post on, I think it was like Instagram and X, saying, that life has been hard, and I, like, due to mind racing, had stomach issues, and I don't know if I had a stomach bug or if it was something I ate or if I was just having stomach issues from stress, which is not something I have ever really dealt with before. So I really don't know what the cause was, but today has been better, and I really just feel like going back to this series that it was the the perfect time for me coming into this, seeing Kurumi not at her best. She is being her typical self from like how she was in the main series. I wouldn't say I love Kurumi in the main series because I didn't like her in the beginning, but I do feel like by the end that she really rubbed on me and I did genuinely care for her as a character. I didn't expect I would love her character though in this series, but she's so different than I ever imagined. I never expected that I would be able to relate to her vulnerability. There's this struggle that she has, that she knows that she is not a good person, so to speak. She knows that she takes advantage of Sawako, of her kindness, and she knows that she's testing people and she can be really rude and mean, and she does mean things, and you're just like, I don't mean to always do this. I want to convey, especially for our male leaders, like I want to convey that I genuinely like him, but I say all the wrong things and do all the wrong things, and it's left her this huge broken mess by when it gets to volume 3. And that is where I just found so much encouragement from reading her story. And again, I never thought I would say that, but I needed to see a character feel and be at her worst. Only by the end of the series that she sees like, hey, there are things I don't like about myself. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to probably come back and be mean in certain situations. But the people around me are reminding me that my cuteness for her doesn't define my worth. I don't have to put on this act or be super cute in order to gain somebody's love or affection or attention, that I can be me and be accepted. And that is honestly why I mentioned that I've personally been struggling, because this is our place. Yes, this is mine, but this is yours too, that you take the time out of your day to sit and watch this video. And I was like, when I film these videos, I really visualize and feel I'm talking to a friend. Being able to come here and bring all my messiness and things that my head's just full of unimportant things, as Sawako says. Yes, they feel very important to me right now and it feels overwhelming, but to relate it to the story here and still be able to take off the mask and say, hey, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. Like, that feels like a special thing to be able to do. And I knew in filming this video that that is what I wanted to do, I was so encouraged, inspired by Kurumi, that she found that validation, and not that her worth should be defined by what her friends have said and showed her, but it really reminded me that, when you're struggling, you're not alone. Like, there's a scene in volume 3 where Sawako's like, I've been waiting for you to open up, to share your feelings with me. And I had that moment this morning with I don't know her real name. I will leave it here though. She's an artist. I call her Rook because I know it's Rook something is her username. And I was just reminded that there's people there, people who call themselves friends, who are your friend, that are waiting for you to open up to them, that they want to be able to be in your life and support you and remind you that the struggles that you have, you're not in this alone. And having Sawako as this side character in this series, I really feel like that whole idea came to life, especially in volume 3. Really feel like this is a series that if you're looking for very strong girl friendship vibes, or not just vibes, but an actual strong girl friendship where you see the messy, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so to speak, this is a series I would definitely recommend. It reminded me of The Secret of Friendship, which I reviewed last year, I think during the 25 Days of Shoujo Manga. It reminded me of that, where yes, there is romance, but ultimately it is about these young women standing firm in their friendship, and that even if one of them should date or get a romance, or both of them have a romance, that their friendship is more important to them than just dating a guy and whatnot. I love that. I love seeing that. And so having Sawako in this as a side character and supporting Kurumi was very encouraging to me when I think back on Sawako's actions, and then seeing people who've reached out like, hey, I'm thinking of you today, who have listened to me share my struggles and have just reached out and say, hey, I'm praying for you. Like, I just was reminded like, hey, I'm not alone. And Kurumi is not alone. She definitely is an intriguing and interesting character, because I feel like when you see her in the main series, she is so confident. It doesn't seem like she even knows the meaning of struggle or problems outside of like not getting Kazekaya, winning that battle with Sawako. But no, there is so much more to her, and the way, especially in volume 2, of where we really see her internal battle explored and what she sees from her point of view, and how she has built walls up to protect protect herself and has really used this idea of her being cute and being told that over and over by numerous people, that it has become a defense mechanism almost for herself, and that she's lived into this role and kept up these walls, and that there's nobody outside of Sawako who has seen the real Kurumi. Yeah, she is the Kurumi, but in this volume, she is the real Kurumi, and we're seeing just how hard things have been in her mind and how she struggles with the reality and dream and making sure that those borders are blended, so when reality's hard, she can easily go back into that dream where she can acknowledge her feelings and just let her feelings be as they are without worry of judgment or anything like that. And I love how when she's finally starting to let these walls come down with our male lead, that in volume 3 we see them shoot right back up, and she, well, it was at the end of this volume, more or closer to the end of this volume, and she becomes the Kurumi that we know, that exudes that confidence where it's like Kurumi has no problems. I mean, she can do anything she wants and get anything that she wants, and that is just not the case. I want to expand on that, but I realized it would go into spoilers. So I was like, wait, backtrack, backtrack. That is like her moment of finally admitting everything she's feeling, everything she's been struggling with, and how the people around her, I mean, it goes to show that the people around you can be very instrumental in who you are as a person, that when they're lifting you up, you are getting stronger. And if you're around people who are tearing you down, you will feel like you're getting weaker because people are just not supporting you as the human being that you are. I don't think I could say it, but there was a line near the end of this manga where Kurumi is just finally accepting, I feel like, who she is, that she knows she's gonna struggle, and that there may be times where, yeah, it's like, you know, she might have been nasty, disgusting, or gloomy, but that she's different now. And I don't feel like this manga is saying, well, we should excuse all of that Kurumi's done and how maybe she treated Sawako and other people. I don't feel like it's saying that. I feel like because Kurumi is the female lead, that she's seeing the struggle and she's finally realizing, like, she's feeling the sunlight. She's coming out of this fog, out of these clouds, and finding this healing and this laughter that she didn't know that she could ever experience because of the mean things that she's done, even in the now. It was a beautiful and heartfelt story. I wouldn't say I love this series more than the main. Kimi, Todoke, that is the series for me. But I also never expected that I would love this as much as I have of the main series. That, I mean, I reread the first 2 volumes twice, and I'm like, I'll reread the 3rd volume again in the future, because I just found this relatability in Kurumi, that at a time where I felt my weakest and didn't like my feelings or just and the struggles I was having, Kurumi reminded me, like, don't be afraid to be transparent, to be vulnerable with people that you trust and your friends. And, you know, this is a place that I just wanted to be honest, because I want this place to continue to be special for the both of us. And I felt like, in a way, that like I was hiding a part of myself here. And it's like, well, you know, I can be transparent here as well. This series was everything I needed at just the right moment. And I just felt like I read this series and I walked away feeling like, Laura, you have value. You're struggling right now, just like Kurumi. You have all these thoughts in your head and you're digging through all of them, you know, trying to find what is the most important thing, rather than letting these other problems and issues and stresses pile up and consume you, because I felt like that's what was happening with Kurumi. And so just having the male lead, having Sawako be there for her and to remind me that people there for me, just really wanted me to say, hey, it's time for me to be honest. And I guess on a less relatable note, I love this series for what it was as well. I love the characters. I really love the character growth that we specifically see in Kurumi, and the angst was just as real as what it is in the main series. And I never expected that for a 3-volume series. Like, oh my goodness. I love the ending. I love the middle and the beginning. Everything was so engaging and was just so very invested. Though I will say, coming back to volume 1, there is a stalker, a creep, and I really felt creeped out myself personally. Like, I felt scared for Kurumi. I want to give that heads up, because when you read, I feel like almost the entire thing, it's a very fluffy, sweet story, and it's really good. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified for Kurumi. Kurumi right now. And that's exactly how I felt. So I'm like, just so everybody else knows. And speaking of, let me tell you something now. I don't know if like a lot of people just haven't read this manga, this specific volume yet, or what. But at the end of this volume, there is a like, not collaboration, but there's a bonus manga. Who should be in there? Takeo from My Love Story. Yes, there is a 2-page like bonus mini comic where Takeo from My Love Story is in it, and I've done a review on My Love Story. Very excited that we're getting volume 14, but there's like a mini comic of Kimi ni Todoke meets My Love Story, and I was just like, why has no one mentioned this on social media? None of the reviews I've seen, nobody, I don't know anybody who's read it, but if I knew anybody that had read it, nobody said anything either, and I'm just like, this is important information that people need to know, okay? Because I was so excited. I mean, my jaw dropped. I was so very excited. Like, that was amazing. That was such a great way to end. And so this series was just everything. Highly recommend it. Read the main series though. You have to read Kimi ni Todoke, I feel like, to fully appreciate everything and see just the growth that Kurumi had in the main series, and then see even more growth here. I mean, I guess you could read this without reading the main series, but I feel like it would not be as impactful because you wouldn't know that history that Sawako and Kurumi had. But yes, please read it. It is a beautiful sequel, continuation, well, not really continuation, but a sequel to the main series. Yes, we do see Kazehaya, so don't worry if you're like, well, what about them? I felt the ending was really well done, and I was like, that was really good. Thank you for seeing us fans of the OG couple here. I really, really loved it. Let me know if you've read Kimi ni Todoke or watched the anime. Are you interested? If you haven't read this already, are you interested in reading this series that comes from Kurumi's perspective? I would love to know. And if you know of any other series where there's like a continuation or a sequel, let me know, because I definitely love it and think it's the coolest thing. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!